Now today's shop project on our channel is going to be to replace the chain on our Ninja. It's a relatively straightforward job. We're going to show how we use the Motion Pro tool and a Regina chain. The Motion Pro tool, the chain breaker, is really a good quality tool. And the Regina chains, I've used them on many bikes. I've always had good luck with them. I'm going to try to describe what a good interval for changing chain is, how to do some trick maintenance that I've found useful for me. And if you're new to our channel, it's the first time you've ever watched a video, we do custom work, usually in the winter, and we go on a lot of nice local rides in the summer. We do a lot of engine polishing, make carbon fiber parts from scratch, and you can watch it all in 4K. Just adjust your settings. So changing the chain on any motorcycle, relatively straightforward. You need a few tools. You need a chain breaker. You can buy those very inexpensively, and it's a lot cheaper than taking a bike to a dealer. So the first question most people have is, how many miles and should I be looking at the chain and getting ready to change it? Most people say between 15 and 20. I kind of favor 15. On any bike you do track days on, of course, that can change dramatically. In maintaining the chain, lubing it, cleaning it, of course, that goes a long way to prolonging the life. But what'll help the most is keeping a chain in accurate adjustment. The manual shows you, usually it's about an inch of free play up and down for most bikes, and keeping it clean and lubed. So the bike we're going to work on today, this has 13,700 on the chain. And the problem is we rode this bike all last winter through the whole month where the roads were really salty, and I think that really contributed to the little slop that we have in there now. Now if you follow the channel, you know we ride this bike. Here you can see there's ice on the lakes. Look at the salt on the tires. And most of that winds up on the chain at some point in time. And even though we clean it meticulously every time we ride in these salty conditions, we get about a month of this every winter, and it takes its toll on the chain. So you can tell if you have that much slop in the chain, and the chain doesn't wear equally, but you get it to a spot where it's tighter, you get it to a spot where it's a lot looser, and it's telling you that we're getting ready for a chain replacement here. Now the trick for me is I don't want to wait until it breaks, because a lot of times if it breaks, it does damage to the engine, sometimes catastrophic damage. Another thing that's important, chains come in various sizes. You got to check the manual or somehow figure out exactly the chain. You don't want to put a 530 chain where a 520 goes. This chain is 520 and it's narrower than a 530, and I'm sure some people have put the wrong chain on or put a 525 where there should be a 530. It's important to get the right size chain. Now Vlad has always gotten me Regina chains from his business is motoworld.com, and I've used the Sprocks, their case hardened steel teeth, and the Regina chains, and I've had really good luck, really good mileage. And I've always used chain wax because I like to keep the back wheel clean. And if you're really fussy, you can buy a gauge that measures 10 links of chain under tension, 10 pins I should say, and it'll give you an accurate reading of when that chain is at the end of its service life. But if you use the other criteria, the mileage, or you just look at the chain in general, if it's all rusted and dirty. But here's something to remember and keep in mind, and I've owned motorcycles my whole life, and multiple motorcycles. You do a lot of riding, things wear out, tires have to be replaced, parts, batteries, whatever. Chains are a replacement item. Some people think you buy a bike and you ride the chain until it breaks. Well, that would be like riding a tire until you get stranded somewhere because it's flat and bald. I like to replace it a little bit before the end of its service life, and we're going to do that today. Now, I've used other chains. I've always had the best luck. I think the best quality for my use is Regina. These are a little over $100 for most bikes, but of course that can vary on a daily basis. Now, Regina chains come with master links, of course, for both types, press in, and a swedge one. It comes coated with the stickiest grease. It's almost coated with grease. It's like flypaper. Excellent grease, but if you were just to grab that with your hand and not be able to clean your hand. The fingerprints are everywhere. So the first thing I want to determine is, do I have the right chain? Before I take the old chain off the bike and then find out, uh-oh, it's the wrong size. And I know I need 55 links. That counts 110 pins. So I'll count just to make sure that somewhere these chains come from Italy. The directions, by the way, are in Italian, but you can see, like all European things, you can figure out what they're trying to tell you. They tell you never steam clean, never use gasoline, and there's some do's and don'ts and how to install it properly. But first thing you want to make sure before you cut the old chain or take the old chain off the bike is that you've got the right chain to replace it. Otherwise, you have a bike with no chain. Now, I keep all my chain removal things in one bucket. And of course, this is a good thing. Save the instructions. This is a Motion Pro chain breaker. It's a good quality one. I think it was about 70 bucks. It has served me well over the years. And I know people that buy the cheaper ones, sometimes they break or strip or whatever. Now, just for reference, you can see this is a 520 chain. A 530 is a little bit wider. Now, I don't have a 630. A 630 is what would come stock on a GS, but you get the picture. 520 and a 525, which is what's on the MT-09, is right in between. So having the right chain, I want to check and I want to be sure I have the right chain before I go any further. Now, a lot of people will just break the chain with the chain breaker and then thread the new chain through without ever taking the side cover off. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I like to take the side cover off for two reasons. I want to clean in there. I want to get it thoroughly clean. And I also want to make sure that it'll be the counter sprocket, by the way, that wears a lot faster than the back sprocket by a ratio of about 3 to 1 here. But I want to make sure that we don't have hooks starting on that counter shaft sprocket. And when we take that cover off, I can reach in and feel, with the chain not in place, what the wear pattern is on this. And if it's good, we're good to go. We'll just put the new chain on. And if this is worn, then I have to go to Partzilla and get a countershaft sprocket. But usually the countershaft sprocket is the one that'll wear out before the back sprocket. Now, some manuals suggest replacing both sprockets and chain at the same time. They make kits, and that's always a good idea. But if there's no wear on the parts, I don't like to fix things that aren't broken. Now, I have an old rubber mat just while I'm cleaning this chain area with the side cover off. Try not to drip anything on the floor. Now, the side cover comes right off. And then we can view the wear on the countershaft sprocket and clean that up real nice. Now, with that cover off, and of course I'll clean that all up with some diesel fuel. I can look in here before I even take anything apart, get some view of what's going on. Everything looks pretty good. Actually, it doesn't even look that dirty, but we have cleaned this not that long ago. Okay, so I can check now. Now it's time to take the chain off. And you can see it's dirty in there, and we're going to clean that all up before we put the new chain on. Now, the cleaner I like for this job is ordinary diesel fuel, right from a gas station. That seems to cut the grease real well, doesn't damage the chain at all, and an old paintbrush. And we'll get this all cleaned up, blow it all out with compressed air, and we'll be ready to cut that chain off. Now, I remember we were working on Glenn's Ducati, the first one, the ST, and we took the side cover off to look at the countershaft sprocket, and one tooth was missing. So, looking in here, sometimes there's things you don't want to see, but I want to clean up all this grit. It's just me. Probably it wouldn't make a big difference if you didn't do a super good job, but I like to get as much of this off as I can, and you can see what comes off. It's just oodles and oodles. It's going to be on a rag at the end of this. And then we just throw that rag away because it's diesel fuel and it's going to stink. You'll never get that out. It'll make a mess out of your washing machine even. Just throw it away. Okay, that cleaned up pretty nice. The cover cleaned up nice, and you can see how much goop came out of there. And all that stuff that's in there can tend to just fall down into the chain, or it can't do anything good. I always feel better about taking a few minutes and cleaning that up. So when you actually break the chain, you can use a tool, or in my case, I like to just grind the head off before I use the tool, just to get it so that I'm not killing myself and pushing that pin through. And I protect the wheel from sparks with an old towel. By grinding that, it just makes it easier for the tool to press that pin out. And this is the way you set up the tool. There's a hole in that end. That pin, as you screw this in, is going to push that pin right out, and that'll break the chain. And as that pin gets pushed through, it's pretty self-explanatory how that's going to work, and it will be able to just pull the old chain right off the bike. And once you have the pin pressed out, it's just a question of, now we can separate the chain. Now with that pin removed, we can hook the chain with the master link and just thread it right through, and then we're going to have to trim it to size. Now just getting this link in, and this will just make it easy to thread everything through. Now I always buy the chains with a couple extra links just in case, and you never can be sure. But we will have to trim this. Now a really good tip, so that this doesn't slide away, walk away, whatever, is get a couple of zip ties on this part of the chain, because the next thing is I'm going to have to loosen the chain adjusters, get the swing arm as short as possible, and so I can measure up where I'm going to have to cut the chain. But getting this in place, having that hold it, that's a really good tip. And once I have the axle loosened up, the next step is going to be to get that axle as far forward as possible. Now it is an important step that the axle be as far forward as possible so we can get an accurate place where we're going to have to cut the chain. Now at the axle as far forward as it'll go, I pull the chain up and I've got a zip tie on both ends of it, and I can measure out which pin I have to do the same thing. Remove the pin and I'll be ready to swedge in that master link. Now the only reason for grinding this little bit away is just to make it easier to press that pin out. And by the way, if you order a chain, say if the bike needs 110 links, you order 110 links, this is one step you can leave out. But if you order 110 and you find out you need that extra link, boy, it's a problem. So I'm always careful to do it this way and make sure I don't have a problem with a chain that's too short. That's something you have to do when you're going to cut that chain. You have to get the other links in these two notches, so you have to pull it away and get that in, so that holds it nice and straight while you tighten this and push the pin out. Now if you don't have these two notches that are on the side of the tool lined up with the other links, it's going to be real difficult because that pin is going to be going in on an angle. And once this pin is out totally, we'll be able to put that master link in and then adjust the chain. So looks like we're coming down a home stretch here. Now it is tricky getting the little O-rings in. You need 4 of them per link. The little spacer I use a micrometer to set the plate distance between the plates. Just my way of doing it, but you can't leave those O-rings out. Now you've got to get the O-rings and a little bit of grease on them, kind of holds them in place, but it's easier to do this without gloves on, that's for sure. And then to press that plate on, we have a little special part of that Motion Pro tool that puts a dimple in each one of them. All this is going to do is press the plate on as far as we want, and I don't want it to be not close enough or too close. Now normally you would use these spacers. I like to use a micrometer. I think it's a little more accurate, but these will work just as well. Now they give you 2 master links. This one has a dimpling. We have a part of the Motion Pro tool that'll dimple that. I want to make sure, and I have a micrometer to check that this is exactly the same. And if it's a little too tight, I'm sure you have problems with the O-rings. A little too loose, maybe dirt gets in there. So it's a good idea, little by little, just final adjust that until you've got it exactly the same. Okay, we're right on the money. That couldn't be any closer. Now I want to set up the tool to dimple these two, and then we'll be ready to adjust the chain. And these are the two parts you set in. And again, the directions are real good on this. And this part will dimple at just exactly the right amount. This is a really nice little high quality touch for that tool. And that's how you set up the tool to make a dimple. Of course, you have to do each one individually. Now, all of the spare parts I have, I always keep in a little tray with anything relating to chain maintenance. And it only requires a couple of twists of the wrench, and you've got each one of the dimples. All that's left is to remove the zip ties and adjust the chain. At this point, the chain, of course, is very loose because we've got the swing arm as far forward as we can get it. Just makes it easier to work on this. Now, a couple little tips. That's the sensor there. You don't want to disturb that sensor. And I've cleaned all the grease around it, but I don't want to disturb it or do anything to get it out of adjustment. The chain, that just couldn't have been any better. That one is about as smooth as it can be. Now, another thing a lot of people don't realize, that a new chain, the bike will run a lot smoother. I've noticed when a chain gets above a certain amount where it's sloppy and has slop spots, you get a lot of vibration. You don't know, when you have a new chain, that like a new tire, that vibration goes away. Now, adjusting the chain, pretty straightforward, and every bike will be a little different. And I always check the alignment marks as I'm getting this close. Now we're close, and make sure it's exactly right before I tighten the axle. Now, I always like doing any work I can do on a motorcycle myself. I know it's done right, and I love saving the money. And with motorcycle dealers now, the price of everything is just off the chart. So when you can do a little job like this yourself, you're way ahead of the game, and you're way ahead of the game financially. Well, this went about as good as I could ever expect anyway. Bolting this back up, and we are ready for hopefully another 15 to 20,000 miles of good, safe riding. One final step, I try to take a little diesel fuel and just get the extra grease that comes from the factory off of this, because it all winds up on the back wheel if you don't. And diesel fuel doesn't hurt the O-rings at all. Get one ride on this, and I'll check the adjustment, make sure the chain hasn't stretched abnormally. So I hope you did enjoy the video and found some of the information useful and something you can use to enjoy motorcycling and your passion for motorcycling even more. Save some money, whatever. I just, the simple things that you can do on a motorcycle, I don't see any reason to pay anybody to do them. But hey, we can be friends even if you do. That's not a problem. So I hope I didn't leave out any steps, and I hope this is an information that you can use, and it's basically good information, not something that you need hundreds of dollars worth of tools. The Motion Pro tool is the only thing you need, and whatever you pay for that tool, you'll make it back the next time you change your chain. It'll be free instead of whatever amount of money it is. Again, I hope you did enjoy the video. So if you search our channel, we have over 3,000 videos. Just type in the subject, changing tires, painting, etc., etc. And the biggest thing of all, guys, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel.